It's a strong statement, but I'm never going to set goals in a different way. 2023, with a lot of people I talked to, was just experiencing the after effects of like a collective burnout. I just felt tired from all the change, tired from all the goal setting. And I feel like now there's like a shift happening. I felt a shift happen in myself, maybe like October. I want to go out and have adventures again. I want to set goals again. I want to go to dance classes and to go on runs in the morning and to light a candle and have a coffee and just, the little things that really matter. So I feel like with a lot of goal setting activities, it's kind of just like, okay, you set SMART goals, maybe you set a New Year's resolution, maybe you set a habit, these things that have become kind of fads over time. And goals are seen as kind of like a task list on a to-do list, just like a one-time thing, like write the book. Okay, checkbox, okay, I'm gonna write the book. But really, goals, the vast majority of the time, are actually projects. And a project is a group of tasks. And so actually what I feel like people lack with goal setting is they need project management skills, but a lot of people don't have the project management skills. So I want to give you some things that I've learned from project management and applied it to goals. And so this is the thread that then runs throughout the year. It'll be so easy. This template's so easy. It's like 3 pages that you fill out. It's way easier than it seems. Okay, so getting into this year's mountain. So it says, dig deep, be brave, and pick the deepest desire of your heart for the year. We'll call this your dream goal. And so the dream I commit to pursuing this year is, so I'll just put in maybe writing the book. Maybe that's the thing, it keeps nudging on you, you keep wanting to do it and you haven't done it. So the dream I commit to pursuing this year is writing the book. So that's a big task. That's something to admit that to yourself. It's it doesn't have to be so big like writing a book. It could be something, maybe there's something else that's really important to you. So it doesn't have to be something like that. It doesn't have to be a creative goal, but something that whatever is the number one thing to you, the deep desire of your heart, the thing that it takes bravery to get your hopes up about. So the diagram below is your 2024 goal timeline, and it's split up into 3-month quarters. So we have the 4 quarters listed here. The numbers listed here in these instructions correspond to the numbers on the diagram below. So number 1, fill in your dream goal for the end of 24. So we're just gonna write again, the book is written. Then number 2, on the timeline, fill in your dream goal again for the end of quarter 4. For example, the book is written. So this seems repetitive at first, but then once you get into quarter 3, quarter 4, the repetition won't be there so much, but the book is written. Then number 3, work backwards. This is another really key thing about project management. It's you have to figure out the end. You start with the end in mind, and then you figure out, okay, I would need to be here, then here, then here. A lot of people will chunk forwards. Well, a lot of people don't even chunk at all. They don't have a system, but you need to chunk backwards. So work backwards and fill in what outcome you'll need by the end of quarter 3 to maintain progress toward your yearly goal. So I might say the example I have here is the final draft is complete and given to an editor. 4, work backwards again and do the same for quarter 2. So for example, the rough draft is complete. Do the same for quarter 1. So for example, maybe this is half of the rough draft is complete. So what we've done is just made quarterly mile markers. So after this, I'm going to skip the 24 goals for 2024 for a moment, and I'm going to go down to quarter 1 in January pages. So what you're going to do is you're going to continue chunking down. So on this quarter 1 timeline, it's quarter 1's January, February, and March, you're going to work your way backwards and see where would you need to be in each of those places. And then during monthly planning, you zoom in again. And in January, you outline, okay, where do I need to be at the end of each week in January? So the last week in January, the 3rd week, the 2nd week, and the 1st week in January. So maybe let's say for the 1st week, you need to write 1 chapter. Okay, that's not too bad. So what I really like about this is it makes it so simple. So then when you get to the weekly planning, we have instructions here. So the numbers here correspond to the numbers in the bubbles on the right. Based on your January timeline, write the outcome you selected for the end of week 1, not filling in the action steps yet. So I wanted to have written 1 chapter. So write 1 chapter. That's my outcome. So maybe on that day, that's when I'll final edit half the chapter. Maybe day 4, I'll final edit the first half of the chapter. Maybe day 3, I'll rough draft the second half of the chapter. Maybe day 4, I'll rough draft first half of the chapter. And maybe on Monday, I will outline kind of the bullet points of what I want to include in the chapter, let's say. So I did bubble 1, I'll put a checkbox. I did 2, and I did 3 and 5. So then 6 through 10 says, now go through and list actions and to-do items for that day's dream progress. So if I wanted to outline bullet points for the chapter, maybe for the first checkbox, I'll put something really easy for myself that's motivating. So the first thing is I'll just sit down and open Google Docs. Maybe then I'll just do a brain dump of everything to include from an outline. Let's say I've already outlined. And then after I do the brain dump, maybe I'll organize that into an outline. So those are my steps for that day. And so you would go on and so forth all throughout those days, and then you check off that box. So then when you get to weekly planning, this is a very kind of abridged version of my planning. But so you add to calendar your dream action items. So I'd figure out, okay, when do I want to do these things? So then I'll just add to the calendar, maybe from 9 to 10 in the morning, I'm working on these check boxes. So I would add those to the calendar. Then 24 goals action items. So this is where we can go back to the 24 goals. So it says list 24 goals for 2024. These could be one-time goals like run a 5K, or they could be habits like bike every day. Make sure they're measurable. So maybe I'll say I want to read 24 books this year. Maybe I want to dance every Saturday. Maybe I want to go on Friday date night. So, you just go through and add these things. And I'm so sorry that there's 21. The number 21 is listed twice. And that's because this editor that I was making this fillable PDF on was really bad. So it's fixed on all the other documents, but just not this fillable one. So then what you do is on weekly planning, it says reference your 24 goals action items. So I would go through here and I would say, okay, of these 24 goals, what do I want to do this week? Okay, if I want to read 24 books this year, that's 2 books a month, which means I would have to read on average half a book each week. So maybe I'd add that to the calendar somewhere. Maybe on Monday I go on my Kindle, and then my goal is to read half that book, or I pick the book, figure out, okay, is the book 30 chapters? Okay, then I want to read 15 chapters this week, and I might chunk it out that way if I really wanted to get specific. If I want to dance every Saturday, then I'll add that on Saturday. If I want Friday date nights, I'll add that to the calendar. And then bucket list action items is the next thing. So if you see here at the bottom of this quarterly and January page, it says on a separate piece of paper or digitally, make a quarter 1 bucket list and hang it somewhere. You'll see it often, like the fridge. And so, I make so it's like December right now. So on my bucket list, it's like, well, I want to ride the cable cars from Union Square up to Ghirardelli with all the Christmas lights at night. Or I want to try this pop-up bar that has Christmas themed. So, for this quarter, all of the things that are relevant for this quarter, I just write those. And then I would look on that piece of paper and see what I want to do. Because a lot of times with planning, a lot of times people will plan in tasks or, appointments, things they have to do, and then that makes planning not very fun. But the point of this intentional planner is to do things you intentionally prioritize what you value, not what you feel like you should value. So I prioritize, dreams, fun, bucket list, those things go on here first. And then finally we get to routines. So on my full planner version, there is this whole list of different types of routines, like body routines, mind routines, soul routines, morning routines, and it has you outline that type of thing. And so you add those things to the calendar. When do I want to meal plan on Saturdays, which means I want to maybe grocery order on Sundays, and then I have certain meals for the week that I want to put in. Do I want to work out on these certain days? And so filling in routines, like do you have a laundry routine or a cleaning routine or personal development routine? There's all sorts of routines that you could have, and then it's filling those in. So having something like this, what this does is it helps you kind of project manage and chunk down these certain tasks. And so then it's not just a one-time thing that we do in January, but this is something we do throughout the year. We have this weekly planning, this monthly planning, and then I can just have the one habit, and the one habit is just to show up to my planner and then make sure I do the things that I've outlined for myself. So I don't have to have all these different habits, but this kind of houses it. And this is a very minimal version that's really just focused on the goals part of it. But this planner has a lot of actually project management things in here. So I want to show you, the 2024 intentional planner, if you would like to continue planning throughout the year and you like, this, if you want to integrate kind of like quarterly planning or monthly planning or weekly planning into your routine in a very easy way where you don't have to continue remembering, because I feel like that's the big thing. A lot of people are like, okay, I have all these things, I have these 24 goals, and I want to remember all of them. How can I have a better memory and make sure I do these things? But the better thing to do, if you read Getting Things Done, is to try to actually not remember. You don't want all those things floating around in your head. You want fun things in your head, not remembering all these tasks you have to do. So what you do is you delegate the remembering to something else. In this case, it's this. So all throughout the year, it's just reminding you to continue back to your intentions. And I named this the intentional planner because it kind of denotes a way of being that carries you throughout the year. Whereas I was thinking about, should I name it the intention planner? But when I think about the word intention, it's kind of like, I intend to do this thing. It's like this noun. It's this one-time intention that I have. But intentional shows it's a way of being. And so it's the thread that connects what you do at the beginning of the year to the end of the year to make sure this is all still happening. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found this helpful. This has been something that's changed my life. I am never going to, this is a strong statement, but I'm never going to set goals in a different way. This is the thing, and I'm just so in love with this thing. So I hope you found it helpful. I'll see you guys in the next planning videos. I'm gonna walk you through, how to do this thing. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Bye.